Raegen, the Return, is an incredibly original unit. It's what I would have said if I hadn't seen Tulane and Lemon Wedge. He doesn't even have a CG Lemon Burst. So disappointing. Raegen's Trustmaster reward is the ability Light Breaker. It can only be used by units that are breakers, but it's still a pretty good ability. A 85% full break and a 130% light imperil. Nevertheless, the ability's effects don't match the cooldown, so it's usually best used on a unit who can fill the gaps. His Super Trustmaster reward is his clothes. It has high attack, some defense, and some ice and dark resistance for whatever reason. It also has 2 additional effects, though these can only be used by breakers. The first one gives bonus attack while the unit is dual wielding, and the second is a Grandis ability that can only be used once per battle, raising the damage modifier of a physical limit burst. On to his active abilities. Provoke is Provoke. Obliterating Mirror of Equity is pathetic, but it can be awakened further. Why don't they show that? Bursting Break and Full Breakdown are abilities that will no doubt show up in the next Breaker video. Dawn's Edge deals light damage that chains with Bolting Strike, and inflicts a 130% light imperil. Daybreak's Flame is the same thing but fire. Ardent Mirror of Equity is a big light attack that chains with Absolute Mirror of Equity. I Must Protect the People can be used once per battle. It raises Raegen's light damage by 30%, his attack by 300%, his limit burst damage by 200%, and fills his limit burst gauge, though not if it's under-leveled. That is the Duty of the President, can only be used once per battle. It inflicts an 85% attack and magic break, while lowering defense and spirit by 88%. And then it raises the damage modifier of Ardent Mirror of Equity. Passives. With his Trustmaster reward or Super Trustmaster reward equipped, Raegen gets a lot of killers. He also raises his HP by 100%. Even without that excellent passive, he already has some killers, namely Demon and Human. He also has a small boost to his limit burst damage, limit burst regen, and physical evasion. Raegen also has a small provoke buff, with unfortunate implications for a president, but he also has other cool passives like Bond with Sophia, Bond with Raegen, and my personal favorite, Triple President. His normal attack is changed to Ideal Country, which can inflict a 110% fire and light imperil, and he also automatically casts Preemptive Full Break, which will no doubt show up again. Finally, at EX plus 2, he'll get a lot of Limit Burst crystals, and at EX plus 3 he gets 500 extra attack. Let's look at his Limit Burst. It lowers the enemy's defense and spirit by 87%, their light resistance by 140%, gives your team a 140% double demon killer buff, and then deals light damage. His Super Limit Burst starts off with Sabotage Shift, which doesn't raise his stats at all, joy. The Super Limit Burst throws in an attack and magic break as well, raises the light imperil by 5%, the demon killers by 20%, and then deals even more light damage. Let's rank Brave abilities. They just raise damage, and as you can see he prefers to work with light. Time to make a damage rotation. On turn 1, double cast Dawn's Edge and Ardent Mirror of Equity. On turn 2, triple cast Dawn's Edge. On turn 3, cast I Must Protect the People, and double cast Dawn's Edge. On turn 4, use his Limit Burst. On turn 5, activate his Super Limit Burst. On turn 6, cast That Is the Duty of the President, Dawn's Edge, and Ardent Mirror of Equity. Then repeat the rotation from there, prioritizing his Limit Burst whenever it's ready. So, EX2. As a Super Limit Burst user, Raegen automatically benefits from additional EX awakenings. With math, you can figure out the optimal level for full uptime, but he also has other bonuses along the way. At EX plus 2, he'll get an instant Limit Burst if it's at max level, which lets you make great use of those breaks and that light imperil. It also gets a Super Trustmaster reward, which, with the ability Gallant Spirit, can further raise his Limit Burst damage modifier. EX plus 3 is just 500 attack, which, I mean, did you even do it for the other 2 guys? So how good is Raegen, the Return? He's a very good light breaker, and I mean, come on, we already went over this twice. He shares similar strength and weaknesses, but with a specific element and killer. Notably, he does have 88% breaks, like 1% more than the other 2. But unfortunately for him, Global is already aware about 90% breaks, so ultimately the best takeaway here is his light imperil. In that regard, he's definitely top tier, and more than makes up for his not too impressive damage output. Seriously, buff Sabotage Shift! Thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, leave a like and subscribe. Comment below if you got Not President here. He's certainly a strong pick if you plan to use Knights of Grand Shout in the future, but otherwise I'm sure we'll see other carbon copies for the other elements later down the line. Oh look, here comes one now.